Before I began my homesteading journey, I was laid off from my job, as were many other Americans following the 2008 financial crash. It was not my fault, and my company was simply downsizing. That's when I discovered baking, which helped me a lot in my quest for self-sufficiency. Many people around the country were in the same boat. Mortgage bonds failed, banks were bailed out, and the world's poor were laid off. To put it mildly, it was a difficult year. How baking helped me get through hard times even though there were hard times. I did everything a person is supposed to do after getting laid off. I worked incredibly hard to locate another job while trying my hardest to feel useful. I cleaned the house as best I could, cooked lunch for my wife, who luckily kept her work, and took care of the kids. One day, while cleaning the kitchen to keep my sanity, I discovered a bread machine my wife had purchased a while back. Suddenly, I had an idea. I'd bake some bread. Doing so would save my family money while also providing me with something useful to do. That year, the bread machine saved my sanity. I went online and searched for the owner's manual since bread machines are not easy to use. I only used it a handful of times. Despite its ease of use, bread making is an art, and bread machines rarely allow the baker to express her style. Looking back, that was most likely the year we began considering homesteading as a lifestyle. Baking bread taught my family and me that we didn't have to buy into the consumerist culture. I could bake bread for my family and myself. Perhaps I could do more. The science behind baking, like fermentation and traditional farming in general, has a long history. Simultaneously, adding yeast to the dough and allowing it to rise allows individuals to get more out of their grains. Bread is made up of only a few ingredients: flour, oil, salt, and water. The end result, on the other hand, is bigger than the sum of its parts. Bread, for example, has proteins that are not found in flour. While bread and the gluten that holds it together have received a poor rap recently, I believe this is due to the way wheat is grown in our food system, as well as industrial ways of food preparation. Regardless of the recipe, the process of making bread consists of a few steps: proving yeast or sourdough, mixing dough, kneading. First rise, kneading and shaping the dough into loaves, second rise, and baking. In my perspective, the magic happens throughout the proofing and raising stages of the procedure. Proofing is the process of activating and reawakening leavening agents. Yeast or sourdough starter is used as a leavening element in practically all breads. Yeast is made up of only living yeast microorganisms. Yeast is a fungus that consumes sugars and carbohydrates and produces alcohol and carbon dioxide as a byproduct.